Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be discussing whether or not All-Star Batman is worth that $5 price tag. Because when DC Rebirth first launched, they were like, hey, all our books, $2.99 flat, that's going to be it. And then All-Star Batman came out, and it was $5. And I know they give you, oh, a free digital comic, oh wow, and they give you like an extra little story in the back that no one cares about. So that's how they sort of justify their $5 price, even though if you get a digital version, it's still $5. So yeah, but anyways, so let's get into that. Let's talk about whether this story is worth it. So I read the first story arc in All-Star Batman. I really enjoyed it a lot more than most people. I thought it was cool they brought back KG Beast and the Batman Two-Face dynamic. I enjoyed it, but I dropped it after that because it was $5, and that is pretty expensive, and it wasn't really the book that I was going to continue picking up, because I picked up a lot of books at the beginning of Rebirth to sort of filter through what I wanted to pick up in the end, what I decided on. But now with the new story arc, The First Ally, I decided to pick it up. It's 3 issues. It's leading into the next story arc as well, but it's only 3 issues. It's called The First Ally, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So spoilers if you have not read All-Star Batman issues 10, 11, and 12, and you are planning on reading it, there's your spoiler warning. Anyways, let's get into it. So this story arc is very Alfred-centric, which I like, because to me, Batman himself is a very just non-human character in my opinion, and I feel like the cast around him, his surrounding characters, humanize him. I feel like that's what's really interesting about Batman that's different about, say, someone like Superman. I feel like Superman helps to humanize the people around him, where I feel like the people around Batman humanize him. Because otherwise, Batman's kind of like this unstoppable force that just keeps going, and you have no really reason to care about him that much, because he kind of is just this dude that just keeps going and wins no matter what. To where when you have someone like Alfred who sees that guy out there that's going and beating people to a pulp as his son, you start to feel for Batman a bit more, because you see that, hey, that's somebody's son right there, and this guy is fearing for, Alfred is fearing for his son's life out there. Every time he goes out there and he fights some killer clown, he's afraid he might die. That might be his last time to go out there. So the surrounding cast of Batman give you a little bit of a reason to care more a bit about Batman. At least that's how I feel about it. So that's what I liked about this story, was bringing Alfred into it a bit more, because we see the perspective of him really viewing himself as Bruce's father, and I liked seeing that. We don't see that enough, I feel like, now. But anyways, the setup, the premise for this story is that Batman went and he captured Hush, because Hush was planning, you know, he looks like Bruce Wayne. He's even though it's, because I'm not caught up on like what New 52 Hush is basically, but he does have the Bruce Wayne disguise, so I know that. So anyways, he's got the Bruce Wayne disguise, and he's planning on going to this auction dressed up as Bruce Wayne to buy this thing called the Genesis Engine. So I'll get into later what exactly the Genesis Engine does, because in the beginning of the story they don't tell you exactly what it does. They just tell you it's called the Genesis Engine. So a bunch of people want this thing called the Genesis Engine, but all Gotham City criminals are banned from bidding on it, because they know if they go to bid on it, to the auction, that'll draw the attention of Batman. So the seller does not want the attention of Batman there. So if any Gotham criminals show up, they will be shot on sight. So Bruce Wayne, well, Batman, he captures Tommy Elliot, who was planning on going to this auction as Bruce Wayne. So Batman, since he is Bruce Wayne, goes to the auction as Bruce Wayne. And when he goes there, they don't believe him, and they think he is Tommy Elliot pretending to be Bruce Wayne, so they start shooting at him. Batman just starts beating everyone up. He gets to the back room where the guy that set this whole thing up is, and that dude had his, like, chest ripped open where his heart is, just a hole right there, and he's like, what is going on? This dude just happened in like the last minute. Someone just surgically cut a hole in this dude's chest, and Batman's like freaking out what's going on. I was like, doesn't matter, just get out of there. But the way this heart is cut out, the sort of symbol it makes that the guy uses, like these stitches to hold the hole open, is the same symbol that we saw that Alfred made a while back. Because during this entire story, we get flashbacks back to Alfred when he was a young lad. Because before he joined the British military and became SAS, he was a troublemaker, and he spray painted this symbol that looks just like the symbol that this dude made in this guy's chest with these stitches. So Alfred realizes that this is about him, this mystery. It somehow involves him, whatever's going on here. And this whole story, we get a bunch of flashbacks with Alfred. We get some cool stuff saying that he's very resentful towards his father, because during everything that was going on in his life and his mother's life, his father was a butler for the Waynes. And so his father, it seemed in his eyes, cared more about the Waynes than his own family. He cared about some other family that was overseas in America more than he cared about his own family. family, his own wife and son. So he wasn't too fond of his father, so that's what sort of made him a bit of a rebel, and then he just joined the military when his mother died, and he was really mad about that, the fact that his mom died and his dad wasn't even there when she died. He was over there winding a clock for the Waynes. He seemed to love the Waynes so much. So we see that Alfred was not the biggest fan of his father back in the day, but he joined the SAS and became a killing machine pretty much. He was just a great soldier, and then later on we see that he got recruited by MI5 to be a Dark Knight. Now what is a Dark Knight? I'm going to read what the character who is recruiting Alfred said in the book word for word. This is what he describes a Dark Knight as. He says, there was need of a special knight, a Dark Knight, an outsider, an enemy of the crown, a traitor, someone hated by everyone but who secretly was in league with the kingdom, someone who rode alone save for his squire. So that's what's going on with Alfred this whole time during these flashbacks. But anyways, back to Bruce. Like I said, he's being chased by these guys that set up this auction because they believe that he's Tommy Elliot posing as Bruce Wayne, trying to bid on this. And again, they're against Gotham criminals because they don't want Gotham criminals to bring the involvement of Batman. So Bruce is running for his life from all these dudes trying to murder him, and where this auction took place was in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of the water, so he jumps out and he gets attacked by some crocodiles while he's in the water, or alligators, whatever they are, but then he gets saved. He gets brought on board this ship, he gets out, and we see that on the ship who he got saved by was Penguin, Black Mask, and Great White Shark. Now, things don't look good at first, but the reason they want him is because they say, hey, we know you're Batman posing as Bruce Wayne. We're here to help you because we don't want anyone to have that weapon either. So they tell you what the Genesis engine did. So I'm going to read in their words what the Genesis engine does. See, right now scientists can already print 3D organs, cells printed on cells, but the engine doesn't print new cells, it rewrites existing ones. Gives man autonomy over his own fate. More than that, it's a weapon. The Keeper can write anything he or she wants into existence through living tissue. We're talking human monsters, anything. So that is why, well, end quote. So that is why they want the Genesis engine just out of their hair. They want Batman to take it so that way no one can use it and it's back to just, you know, even playing field for the villains of Gotham. They don't want anyone to have this thing because it's a big advantage for whoever has it. So that's why they're helping who they believe is Batman right now. So Batman goes to where the new auction is taking place because obviously they still want to sell this thing, and it's on a submarine. By the time Batman gets to the submarine, it's too late because a bunch of people are already dead, and there's this new guy there that looks badass. He looks awesome. He's like sort of like a mix between the Talons from the Court of Owls and a old medieval knight. He looks awesome. I love his design. He really looks cool. So we're about to have a showdown between these two. They fight for like a second, but then there's this part of the submarine that is just pure glass so they can look out into the water, and the dude cuts the glass as he's fighting Bruce, so that way Bruce will stop fighting him and focus on the glass, because if that glass comes apart, then the entire ship will implode, and that's it. It'll just become flooded with water and everyone will die. And then this dude just slashes Batman's shoulder and is like, yeah, you're gonna bleed out in like a minute or so, bye. It's like, oh dang, he just put Batman in such a helpless position. And again, most of the time you wouldn't really feel for Batman because it's, you know, it's Batman, he's unstoppable, he gets everything done all the time. But this is someone's son. You're seeing this from the view of Alfred, who is worried sick about his son and always thinks he's gonna die every time he goes out to fight crime. But then we get a view from Alfred, who's on a bat glider above the water, and he's zooming in and he sees the night guy that just kicked Batman's ass, and he also sees Briar. Briar was the guy who recruited him for MI5 for this Dark Knight project that I was talking about earlier. So Alfred's like, oh damn, there really is a connection. I was right. So this submarine is sinking, but Bruce is able to save it because there's these missiles that he attaches to the submarine that lock onto any little noise whatsoever. So he tells Alfred to scream, and he's like, Alfred, just scream for all the times you were mad at me and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And it's actually like a good moment. And so Alfred just lets out this huge scream, and the missiles follow him, and they act as like a tow that tow the submarine out above the water, and that's how they're able to get safe. So then we see that Bruce has the Genesis engine, and he goes back to where he was staying, which was at a Wayne hotel that wasn't yet open. It had just finished construction, and they go there, and that's where they were holding Tommy Elliot prisoner. And when they get there, they get attacked by, guess who? Penguin, Black Mask, Great White Shark. So they all show up in a helicopter attacking them, and then Hush gets up and he's not really incapacitated like they thought. He knocks out Batman, and then they let a wrecking ball go and wreck straight into the Wayne Hotel, because again, it had just finished construction, so they still had wrecking balls around, and that's where it ends. I know that's the end of that storyline, but like I said, it bleeds over into the next. That's the end of the first Ally. But yeah, so let's talk about whether this was worth the $5 price tag or not. So overall, I enjoyed these 3 issues. It was a good story. I liked seeing this backstory on Alfred, seeing the connection between Bruce and Alfred, seeing Alfred really view himself as Bruce's father, because again, like I said earlier, I don't think we get enough of that. Something else in the story that I forgot to mention earlier is I really like seeing the POV of how Alfred views Batman doing all this crazy stuff. He sees Bruce does not fear things like he should. Bruce is kind of a maniac. He's a little bit crazy. There's even a part where Alfred really believes that Bruce is walking into a trap, but Bruce is so much of this I'm right, I'm always right, I'm the smartest guy ever, I'm right type attitude that whatever Alfred says won't really matter, so Alfred just kind of supports him in what he does. And there's a part where Alfred is sitting back with Hush when Hush is captured, and Hush wakes up and Tommy Elliott's just like, hey, you know this is a trap, right? Like, what if all of this is just a trap I set for you with this whole Genesis engine? You know Bruce is walking straight into a trap, and Alfred punches Tommy Elliott straight in the face, knocking him out, and he's just like, damn it. He knows that it's a trap, but he can't, like, really do anything because he knows how Bruce is, and I really like seeing that. I thought Scott Snyder did great. He's not on top, he's not New 52 Scott Snyder, but he is still really good, and he definitely still has it, and I enjoyed this story. The art was good. It's not Greg Capullo, but it's still good art, and I liked it. But I wouldn't say it's worth the $5 price tag, especially when you can get a Batman book by Tom King right now, War of Jokes and Riddles, that is arguably better than this story right now for only $3. The War of Jokes and Riddles is amazing right now, especially if you read that last issue about Kite Man. That Tom King's making me care about Kite Man. That issue was phenomenal. One of my favorite single issues from Rebirth. It was insane how good that issue was. And not just that issue, but the other issues of the War of Jokes and Riddles have been really good as well, and I'm really excited about that storyline. It's great. So you could pay $2 less for a storyline that is just as good, if not better. So why would you pay $5 for All-Star Batman? I don't get it. DC, why are you charging $5 for this book when you have Batman books that are better for cheaper? I don't get why anyone would buy All-Star Batman. It's just like they're charging $5 for the name of Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder is my favorite Batman writer of all time, but right now he has competition. There's no reason to charge $5. So no. So my answer is no. It's not worth $5. If you want your Batman fix, buy the main Batman title by Tom King. It's amazing, and it is way worth the $3. This is good, but it's not worth the $5 price tag. But anyways, that's my opinion on this subject. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below if you've been reading All-Star Batman. What do you think about it? Do you think it's worth the $5 price tag? Do you not? Anyways, just let me know. I want to have a discussion with you guys in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.